Hello and welcome to FGC Philosophy. I'm your host, The Philosopher, and I am joined by
Megamaxstar.
And this is where we focus on leveling up inside and outside the virtual arena and talking about FGC related topics that are important to us. Today's topic, we'll be talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ a little bit, and then also the Riot fighting game, and just some thoughts and experiences that we've had in the past that we think we need to recap on. But before we get into that, I also just wanted to check in to see, what's new. It's been a while since we've done a podcast together, so I want to check in with you to see, what's new in your life.
Nothing too crazy, working up. Just got done doing the Black Friday stuff, so that was always, Black Friday's crazy, but it was a lot more tamer than I initially thought it was going to be. Thank God people are actually like decent human beings.
But what? That's surprising.
Yeah, somehow, but it's a small town where I'm at, so people are kind of like pretty chill and very family oriented. So I think that's like kind of what was a key concept in there. Okay. But yeah, so far I've been just working on a small project for my YouTube channel. It's a little bit in the making, but I want to start it up as soon as I can.
Okay. Are you allowed to give details, or are you going to keep it under wraps for right now?
I can give a little details. I'm gonna start doing a climbing journey, but I want to release a really good starter video, and I want to get all of my other stuff set up first. So once I make that video and send that video out, I also want another video ready to release at the same time. So it'll take me a little bit, but it's all a work in progress.
Okay. And then I will say, I haven't been consistent with this, but actually that the teaser video that you did show me, I don't know if it's actually out in the general public, so I'm not going to talk about it too much.
No, it's not yet.
Okay, but what you showed me, I will say that it's kind of inspired me to get back on my grind with Street Fighter. And so I've been grinding out on Street Fighter when I have time in between work and stuff like that, and I'll have some time to grind out rank. And I think that I also had some coaching from a master level Fong player, and he gave me some advice, and I've been taking that into consideration. And I took a unintentionally long break because of I haven't been able to go to the FGC in a couple of weeks, and then my son's birthday is this Thursday, so I won't get to go again. But I went back and started playing ranked, and I'm like, you know what? I want to grind it. I want to get to masters, which is basically it's not the highest anymore, but there's I think Warlord is now the highest, but I want to get to master, which was at one point the highest, but now there's ultimate master, and then there's grandmaster, and then Warlord. There's a lot more, but I'm platinum right now. I think I just hit 9,000 LP as of today, which is I think 1,000 away from hitting super platinum. And I noticed that I've actually not been whenever I hit platinum, I would basically just hover around the platinum area and not really climb up in LP, which is the point system in that, kind of like league points. And that's been going pretty well. And I've been winning pretty consistently and playing at different times of the day. So I know that I'm getting a good mixture of different people in different areas. And so that's been kind of refreshing to just hop onto rank, practice some new stuff and actually see some improvements. So that's been really nice.
Yeah, my whole thing is because I've been sitting around Super Saiyan Blue for forever now, where because climbing in Dragon Ball is kind of frustrating, honestly. It's a mix of the online plus just a lot of the cheese strats that's able to work because of online. And of course that's such a scrub thing to say, but I really do want to improve myself, and I know I can improve, and there's a lot of very key specific things that I want to work on. It's nice that you were actually able to run into someone to coach you. I know the guys for our FGC haven't been showing up recently because they've been running into car issues, which sucks. But Musketeer, our main Dragon Ball player, who usually he does really well, he's good. But I've been talking to him here and there, and it's nice because I want to, now that I'm really wanting to climb, I want to play him and I want to practice, and I know he's better than me, so I want to get better with him, but he's not around. So I was like, damn, dude, it's not like I'm stagnating, but I can definitely feel it, where it's I just want to improve. But Living Legend is the rank I'm trying to go for, and hopefully it goes out well. I know the small things I need to improve on, and I just need to slowly but surely towards that. But I'm excited because I know I'm not going to be, I always watch pro footage every now and then. I'm never going to, but I do want to be just decent enough where I can feel so comfortable with myself where I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's fair. So speaking of Dragon Ball, the new trailer dropped for Broly, and I did watch it. I did finally watch it.
It's a sick trailer.
Yeah, So do you want to talk about the initial thoughts on the trailers first, or do you want to talk about the other stuff about Dragon Ball?
We can talk about the initial thoughts for sure.
Okay,
I think that's more important right now.
So since I'm the lesser of the two experienced Dragon Ball players between us two, I guess I'll go first, and then you can have your rebuttal. But I'm torn because I think the trailer itself was presented very cool. Like I'm used to the whole 30-second clips, so I'm not disappointed or anything like that. But maybe I'm just not familiar enough with Dragon Ball anymore to be able to figure out enough information. But I'm all I saw was him grabbing the hell out of people, and he was bodying people really good, but I don't feel like that was a good showcase of his abilities. But I thought the trailer itself looked sick, so I'm kind of left torn as to is this a character that I want to use? Because it has me feeling I want to try him out because the trailer looked cool, but how does he play? I don't know if I really got that information from the trailer.
So actually, that's a really good, honestly, that is a completely justified feeling and reason, because the Dragon Ball trailers are really awful. I'm not gonna poke around. They're the worst. The leaks are garbage. The trailers are bad. Nobody wants 30-second clips. Nobody wants Shonen Jump mags where we get this big screenshot of whatever the hell it is. Nobody likes that, right? But what was it when Gogeta was about to come out? They actually released a trailer that I thought was their best trailer, and it was literally just straight up a whole match of just Gogeta. Mm-hmm. And it was a 3-on-3 match, and it played I think two games or two matches. It might have been just one, but I thought that was the best trailer they had because it did cool stuff. Whoever was playing the character did almost everything the character had, but still didn't do some stuff. But it still showcased what Gogeta was and how he played. And I was like, dude, this trailer's sick. You can actually see what this character does and what this character entails in his gameplay style. And I'm sad because I wish more trailers were like that, because that trailer was amazing. But I agree with you. I mean, they don't really, even the leaks that were shown, I still am I have no idea what the hell this character does, because it's so hard to actually pay attention and see what he's doing. Which I guess we can now just kind of move over. So it was leaked beforehand, before the trailer was shown. Broly's kit was leaked for the most part, and it was quite a bit leaked, and it was a really, I want to say, awful leak because of how it was leaked. Mm-hmm. And I talked to you about this before the podcast, but I'll tell everyone else. So there's a YouTuber named Rhymestyle who is a well-known DBZ YouTuber. And he was a part of, he was invited to play Dragon Ball FighterZ before it was released by Bamco, along with Maximilian and the Super Best Friends guys, everyone over there. So he was the OGs in terms of just showing off the game and gathering hype for everyone else. Mm-hmm. So recently he apparently got the character early. I don't know where he was or if it was just his build of the game, but he was in a Discord call with a friend and he was screen sharing with it. And his friend essentially just video recorded it and then uploaded it to YouTube, which then was promptly taken down by Bamco very quickly. But of course, once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. So we can't lose it. It's already back up in mirrors.
That's so grimy.
It is, because honestly, the worst part about it, and I feel bad for Rhymestyle because I know for a fact he's just gonna be dude, what the hell? I trusted you, and you just do that to me. And there were a couple of other Dragon Ball YouTubers that uploaded that footage to try and get it out, where it's hey, this is what the footage is. But it just sucks because I understand relations with companies are not easy to come by, and they can be very one-dimensional in one ways too. So the second you do something to those kind of take them off, you might just lose your whole relationship with them entirely.
Yeah, that's so dirty, dude. I'm frustrated right now.
Yeah, it's a leak that I definitely don't condone. I don't like that, and I get it. But at the very least, if it was if somebody released in text what his kit is, I'd be more okay with that than like, because at that point, then it's still like speculation because you can't take it. But it's literally strictly, you can see the Discord call. He's literally looking at the Discord and like full screen.
Didn't even crop it out or anything. That's
no. It's like there's no like other way to describe it. That's what it was, and I'm like, man, that sucks. I feel for Rhyme Style, man. Yeah. So again, like guys, we've talked about it before with a previous episode, but if you haven't watched it, just like with leaks, try not to promote leaks too much because it hurts companies. It hurts the people around them. It hurts the people, just like the little guys that are working on the stuff. Everything can go to like hell in a handbasket just from leaking stuff. And it causes a lot of internal affairs.
Yeah, and like YouTubers too now, like, cause unless they were in cahoots, I guarantee that YouTuber probably is not friends with that other guy anymore. So like like that person was willing to risk his relationship with this guy, his supposed friend, for being the first to get the scoop on a story, and like. So I will be very open about this. I'm very against like game leaks in general, and I'll actually share a story about another game that I'm a big fan of that I just heard about a leak recently. But I am not for leaks of games unless it's something that like the developer themselves, or like they're playing like a meta game or something like that, where they're leaking information and like you can look through certain data, and like Kojima and CD Projekt Red, those companies have been known to do that. Halo, Bungie, they would do stuff like that where like you can go into the code of like a random character model and you'll find some weird like encrypted information, you decrypt it, like that kind of stuff is cool. That's like, I forget there's like a name for like metagame or something like that, but stuff where you're like data mining and you're like screen sharing your own, like, because that trust is gone. Like you lose trust. And so like that guy's not an employee, but he technically is a representative of that company in some form or fashion, because he's doing something for that company. They have some sort of mutual relationship, and now the trust of that company with that YouTuber is gone, and then the trust of that individual with that friend is gone. And that's so messed up to me. Like I get unreasonably upset with that kind of stuff. I think because I used to do game development, and that kind of stuff just like really irks me, because it's not just the big rich corporation that you're screwing over. It's the, like you were saying before, the average Joe. So I don't know. I'm really frustrated. But the other story I have, it's not fighting game related, so I'll be pretty short about it. But Diablo 4 had some leaked information about it, and the way they did it was they downloaded the trailer of the game, because there was speculation about a certain character being in the game, but it wasn't confirmed by Blizzard. They downloaded the trailer. They like opened the trailer up in this basically like Premiere or some other video editing program, and then looked at the markers on the video. And I don't know how they got the video file, if that was data mined in itself, but they looked at the markers, and like one of the markers said like this character's name looking into somebody else's eyes. And so that basically all but confirmed that information. And so like on one side you can say, yeah, Blizzard was stupid for doing that. But like on the other side, I don't know how common this is to like download a video file and look at the information of the markers to figure out, like, to speculate who is or isn't in that information, and then leaking that information out there. And then like the YouTuber that like was referencing the other YouTuber that did it was like, thank you for this leak. And I'm like, I kind of was thinking about subscribing to this YouTuber, and I wound up not subscribing because he's like, why are you saying thank you for this leak, as if this is like the people that wanted that information out there did not put that information out there, and you're basically like going behind their back and like stealing that information from them and then spreading it. Like, I don't see how that is like something to be thankful for, unless you're just so selfish that you can't wait for information to come out that you have to steal it from somebody, from that person that you're waiting for the game for, and then expecting them to like, I just don't understand that kind of relationship. Like, if you were my friend and like we're having this mutual relationship, and you're stealing information from me and putting it out there without like my consent, why would I be your friend, and why would I want to maintain that relationship with you? Like, that really is messed up. And like we try to like look at it from the sense of like screwing over the corporations, but I really feel like there's a lot of asshole people out there that really screw over the game developers, and it's not cool to me. They're now, EA, big companies. I'm not going to act like they don't do things wrong, but two wrongs don't make a right. That's an old saying that I have learned has it's really important to live by for myself.
I'm saying we can shit on Blizzard as much as we want to, but again, in the end, like, it's the little average guys that are working in Blizzard. Those guys aren't like the people that are behind all of the controversy. It's more of the big head like the big heads. Mm-hmm. And those guys don't get affected anything for the leaks. It's the guys that are actually working on the game.
They're protected. So, even if they get fired, they get like a severance package.
Yeah.
A couple $1 million. They're good to go. Like, it's not going to affect them. Dude. So it's a little frustrating for me. And I get more heated than I probably feel like I should. But I think people, and I might get a little bit of flack for this, but I think that people are way too selfish to admit when things are wrong because of like the internet. So it's like the same thing with like flaming people and like playing League of Legends or playing a fighting game and like just being a jerk to another person. You have this air of anonymity, so it's okay. Just like stealing information from somebody because it's digital information and like no one's gonna find you or you're not gonna get reprimanded. It's okay. I don't think it's right, and I think that people are far more selfish and are willing to admit that they are. Now I'm willing to debate that with anybody in the comments, like not in a mean way, but if you have a logical reason as to why that is a good thing, why leaks are good, and it's something that's like actual tangible information or an opinion that is reasonable, I'm willing to have a conversation with you. But for those of you who are like, you're already getting ready to type up an angry essay as to like, you're stupid and you're wrong and you're like, a shill or something like that. I'm not going to acknowledge those kinds of thoughts, but I will love to have a conversation and maybe even like have somebody on the show to like actually debate that. I used to do that on different podcasts where we would have debates on different topics, and it was really fun. I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, I would love to do that. Honestly, I love debating. Debating is such a fun thing to do because you always learn. I love just other people's viewpoints on stuff because you don't sometimes when you just don't see it, like people will show your eyes like something new and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't think about it like that. And then you're like, try to debate it from that point.
Yeah. Speaking of debates.
Oh, dude, that was a good segue right there. Okay. Do you want to tell the story or do you want me?
Yeah, I'll tell the story because you came in towards like the middle of the debate and like you had my back, which was good. So like, I'm not trying to like throw any shade at my friends because these guys are ultimately my friends and they're members of the FGC. So I'm not trying to like hate on them, but we had very different opinions on this. And this was at the peak of the Riot fighting game announcement. So this was like the first local we had since that announcement was released. We were meeting and then like my one friend was like, hey, what do you think about this Riot game? And me being me, I'm like, I love League of Legends. I love fighting games. I love the FGC. I'm like, man, I'm hopeful for it. I think this is going to be great. It could be a game changer for the FGC, all that kind of stuff. And he comes back with a, I see where you're coming from, but I wouldn't be so optimistic about that. I have a more pessimistic viewpoint. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Okay.
Elaborate. And he proceeds to elaborate and like, I'll try my best to like explain the story, but like it happened in like different points were made at different like segments of the conversation. So like one point would be argued like and then we'd have a stalemate and it would like go on to the next one. So I'm going to do my best to stay in order and we can kind of like some commentary.
We'll try to work with this.
Yeah. So the first one was the fact that the first point that I remember was that this is this company Riot is it is an American company, but like a majority share is held by China. And so again, like I think the whole Blizzard situation was happening as well. The China,
that was a huge topic at the time.
Yeah. So like I think that kind of spilled into it as well. But he was like talking about why I wouldn't be so excited for being in the FGC. He was like, well, think about it, because how does League of Legends do their games right now? And they're like, they have sole priority over the tournaments. You can't host tournaments. Only Riot does, and you basically can't host a tournament for League of Legends. They do it. Now, me knowing this information, I didn't say it just yet because I wanted to hear more of his information. But you actually can host tournaments and you can apply for a tournament. There's just like certain rules. You have to basically get a tournament license, and that's not really too much different from other non-fighting games. But again, this was very speculatory on his side based off of the one game that Riot did already have out, which was League of Legends. Now, I will complain about the spectator mode having a 3-minute delay. I'm not very happy. 3-minute delay. Yep.
It's a 3-minute delay.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that, but that's not really the point. So we go back and forth talking about how, that being a case. And I'm like, well, you got to look at some of the points though. They hired Tom and Tim Cannon, I believe it is, the Cannon brothers that host Evo.
The Cannon brothers.
And I'm like, why would they host the people? Why would they hire the people that hosted the biggest fighting game tournament anywhere if they're going to go the route of making it so that only they do it? Unless they
may I interject in this?
Yeah, go for it.
So their whole point was essentially we as a community would not be able to stream the fighting game, the League of Legends fighting game, because of how Riot has their game set up already, which was also an outdated way that they were doing it. Because back then, they didn't like people streaming their games for tournaments. However, as of right now, literally anybody can stream the game and literally anybody can stream it as a tournament. So their whole mindset was, once this fighting game comes out, they will literally copy strike anybody playing this game because they're Riot. Mm-hmm. And of course, you and I interject and we're like, no way, that's not. And especially since it's the Cannon brothers working on the game, we were like, there's no way, because these people are grassroots, and there's no way that they would let that happen too. And then their whole debate was, well, the Cannon brothers will have nothing to do with that. And
and again, I understand that Riot actually is a really huge company at this point, but this is more of my opinion, but it's also an observation that is very true, in the sense that Riot really loves their game. They're not just in it for the money. They've done a great job, but that's also why they've done a good job of making money. But it's also why they've gotten investors, because they know that they want to make a good game and other people make money better than they do. But a couple of things is, one, again, for those who don't know, my job is in college esports, and I actually hosted a League of Legends tournament for an organization. I was the production and basically was a rental for the venue that I work at, the arena that I work at. So another organization actually organized a tournament for colleges, and I basically just helped do the stream and the broadcast of it. And that's one thing. So I already knew that you can host League of Legends tournaments. That's perfectly fine. We streamed it. We didn't get any issues or anything like that. But on the other side, Riot actually personally invited our university, our esports staff, to LCS in Chicago or Detroit. Excuse me.
No, Detroit.
Yeah. Because you went too. Yeah. And I didn't get to see this personally, but my boss and a few other employees went on Sunday, and they actually got invited to the. So we got invited by two different organizations, Riot, and we also got invited by the Detroit Pistons, which owns the arena that was hosted in the Little Caesars Arena. And so they went to the Red Wings. I forget the actual organization, but it's the Detroit Pistons GTs, their esports team. They're trying to get into the NBA 2K stuff, and so they were building a relationship. Invite us to their booth, and unfortunately, no one was really there, because most of those people, they're not gamers. They're people who are interested in capitalizing on gaming. That's. I'm not going to say that's good. I personally am not really a fan of people who are just trying to make money off of an organization. But at the same time, it takes a lot of different people to make a world spin. Not my main point. My main point is they went to the Riot Skybox, and what was there? All of the employees were there watching the game, excited about the game, enjoying the game, not just, wriggling their fingers, worrying about money. They were watching the game because they're passionate about it. And so they know that if you look at their production, if you look at their skits, they love this stuff. It's not just about the money. They have passion behind this. And so for them to get into a different community and to try to overthrow that community and do it the way they've been doing it with League of Legends, and not really considering how the FGC really operates, while also hiring two of the biggest members of the FGC, I think that is really off brand for Riot, and I think that's not really a good point. But I don't want to spend too much time on that topic. That's topic number one. We
essentially our idea was Riot loves their community and they love their game. There's no way that they would take it down.
Yeah,
that's our argument.
Yep.
And in showing how they've done everything in the past, there's nothing to prove that they would do that otherwise.
Yeah, that's a good summary of it. So the point number 2 that I remember is in the topic of net play. We got into the topic of how the net play was going to be.
This was such a frustrating topic, actually. I was like, I was steaming at this point where I was like, dude.
I was trying to keep a cool head, but I also like, I know I was a little bit frustrated as well. So the long and short of it was they were talking about how the net play is probably not going to be good. It's probably going to be a PC based game, which I don't necessarily disagree with that argument, but I think also they're spending a lot of effort into getting the consoles for not just League of Legends, but other games as well. So I find it hard to believe that they won't get into consoles. And then they also got into the topic of we got into the topic of crossplay, because I'm like, this was something that I brought up. I'm like, hey, like, I can't see it not being crossplay, considering that PlayStation finally opened up the floodgates. Xbox has been doing it for a while, and they've been doing PC for a while, and their client on their Riot Client changed recently. So that's probably going to be a launcher for multiple games now, kind of like Blizzard or Steam or something like that. But they were adamant in the sense that the net play was probably going to be terrible. And we debated back and forth on this, but what are your thoughts on this, Max?
There's no way. There's no way. Because here's the thing, right? It's literally the Cannon brothers. They are literally the people who are making the netcode that everybody wants. Okay. We have, what was it called? Oh, shoot. Why can't I think of what the netcode's called?
GGPO.
It's GGPO. Or what's it's the other thing that it's called. People call it
what, netplay or something?
It's like how the netcode works. It's man, it'll come to me.
You mean like rollback?
Yeah, rollback. Yes, rollback netcode. Literally the guys that made rollback netcode. So why the hell would they not implement rollback netcode when it's literally by the people who made it, and it's free, and it's also Riot, who actually have decent servers, at least in North America, and they have decent servers for North America and EU West, and Japan servers are okay, but generally they have some decent servers. And it would blow my mind that for some reason, out of nowhere, they would just choose not to have good netcode. And especially now, since Riot, with their 10-year anniversary, they've been showing that they're going to do all of this crossplay stuff, or they're putting League on the console and on mobile, which is sick. And that'll be crossplay, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they let you play the game with people on PC, on PS4, on Xbox, whatever it is?
Next gen consoles, probably, honestly.
And because the game is not long into its, like, they said, like, it's gonna be a while. The game is still in very, very, like, alpha. So again, like, Riot showing how much they love the community and how much they are working towards with, like, giving everybody essentially like what we would like or what we would want. It just doesn't make sense. At the very least, like, add netcode. Like, crossplay can be something of the past. Like, crossplay is, as of right now, somewhat, it's not a pipe dream, but it's a legitimate hope that's, like, possible. But netcode, at the very, very least, there's no way that they're not going to do rollback netcode. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they do it?
And keep in mind that, like, GGPO was, like, it was designed back in, like, 2006. And the first game that, like, the first official, like, published game was Final Fight Double Impact. And this was in 2010. So this software is, like, 10 years old right now. And, like, they have the funding of Riot. Like, to think that they can't make something better than that already exists, that's been out for, like, over 10 years now, 10, 15 years, depending on, like, when it first came out, as a package versus actually being in a game, that's debatable. But to think that they can't make something even better than GGPO for the new Riot fighting game, or just use GGPO while also maintaining good connections between cross-platform, I find that hard to believe and very cynical, because this is the other argument was, I was like, how many, they were arguing that cross-platform games have really bad netcode. And I'm like, okay, how many do you know of with GGPO are there? And the one game right now that they could mention was, obviously Street Fighter V is a cross-platform game, and it's arguable.
But that one doesn't have GGPO.
It does not have GGPO. Killer Instinct was the one game that they could think of. I think there might be another one. I don't know I know GGPO is used on Skullgirls, but I don't think it's cross-platform. And there might be one other game. But
they brought up Killer Instinct.
Yeah, Killer Instinct was like one game that I can think of.
But again, our argument for Killer Instinct was it was last gen consoles, and it did not, and it was literally made last generation, and it was trying to work with next generation stuff.
And here's the thing too, though, is that Killer Instinct used rollback netcode, but it did not use GGPO. I'm looking at a list right here, right now. So I have a list of all the games, all the games in general using GGPO, and then all the games under it using rollback netcode. Because Street Fighter V does use rollback netcode, and that's on that list with Killer Instinct. Yeah, it does. It does roll you back, which is kind of like the way they do it is frustrating sometimes, but it is not GGPO. Because Samurai Showdown 5 Special, that's not the same one. That's not the one that I'm talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of games here. Mortal Kombat XL, For Honor, Injustice 2, Killer Instinct. A lot of the Killer Instincts use it, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but it's not GGPO. So to kind of correct them from this conversation, that's not GGPO apparently. I will look at other sources, but according to the references that I'm looking at here, it isn't using GGPO. So I'll continue to look into that while you finish your thoughts.
Yeah, I think honestly that's essentially all I had to really say for it, because, and actually another small part of the debate we had was we can tell that Riot is changing their client, and I said that there's no way that they wouldn't also include the fighting game and the card game in the same client, because they'll just add it to the League client. Because recently I've been playing Legends of Runeterra, actually, like, because I have beta access.
Yeah.
And it is the same client, but it isn't, because it's a beta. It's like a completely separate thing. However, it does use my login, and it does use my League of Legends, all of my login stuff. So by the time that stuff comes out, it's going to be on the same client. I'm like 90% certain of it. So my whole thought process is like, they'll put it on the same client. All of your friends list will move over. And at the same time, like, it more than likely will also just go into your profile for whatever console it goes on. And I remember they were arguing that it's just not going to go on console, period. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah,
like, that doesn't make sense. Them losing money. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Like, that's them literally losing money. And like, there's no put it on a console fighting game. So
yeah, that was the other argument. I'm like, again, I can see them doing it on PC, but I'm hopeful for this, but I historically fighting games have not done well in terms of like competitive, like in terms of tournaments, having it on a PC. So I think that they would kind of shoot themselves in the leg in terms of exposure of the game by keeping it only on console. Like, I can see them doing their tournaments, and again, like, technology for consoles has gotten easier in terms of controllers, but it's still very frustrating. So I think they'd have an easier time having their main tournament be on console. And again, I can't see them hiring the Cannon brothers if they weren't going to be, in some sense, advisors as to like how to go about making this game in a way that includes the community. Because those two are representatives of the community, and I think that has a lot to do with why they got hired, not just GGPO and not just EVO. I think those things, the reason they have GGPO and the reason they have EVO is because they cared so damn much about the FGC, not because they wanted to make money off of it or because they were geniuses, because they had a passion for this community. And I think that Riot saw that, and I think that was a wise decision. And they also had Seth Killian on there for a while as well, who also worked on Rising Thunder, which was a fighting game that was developed back in the day and had a lot of acclaim. And then that got bought out by Riot and sort of went dark for a while.
Also, something that they brought up too that was a part of the last, one of the points that they brought up is that they wouldn't let it be on EVO. That Riot would not let the fighting game be on EVO. And that literally makes no sense to me. That one, like, is like reaching, where it's like, okay, the Cannon brothers, the guys who literally own EVO, wouldn't let their game be played at EVO. And their whole argument was because League likes to run their own stuff. Right. Likes to run, like, they have their own esports league, of course, like the LCS, and like that's how they run all of their stuff. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to have their own stuff already. I'm sure they'll probably have something set up for the fighting game. I'm sure of it. However, it would be the biggest shooting their own foot move, where it's like, yeah, well, no, we're not going to allow this in Evo or any tournaments in general, any majors. Like, that makes no sense to me. Why would Riot, who has been showing that they are community based, like very recently, would want the game to be allowed at big tournaments, especially Evo?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want your game to be loved, you want your game to be played, and literally, like, there's nothing more than greed that will stop them from just having it on just their own thing and not at Evo.
Yeah,
so
no, I agree.
That point, like I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I can never see that happen.
Yeah, I think it's a really extremely cynical way of looking at it. And they said so themselves. And I'm okay with being wrong, and I will be the first to admit that. But I think that it's a very slippery slope to have such a cynical point of view, because I used to be that way. And again, this is just a fighting game to some people, but for me, I mean, this is something I'm really excited about. And, there's a possibility that some of these things that we're talking about may not happen, but I doubt it. But at the same time, it's like, why, it's basically you're protecting yourself from disappointment and in hopes that, like, if you're right, then you get to say, I was right, and if you're wrong, then you're kind of, I guess, pleasantly surprised. But I just don't think that's the right mentality to have. And it just, like, there's no proof other than, like, the speculation that those things are the case. Like, yeah, Tencent does have a good amount of money in Riot, but I don't think there's enough information to really go off of these things. So, like, that's kind of the big thing for me. And I will say, though, like, again, open to debate. So make sure if you're watching the YouTube version of this that you do leave some comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are, because I think this is a really hot topic in terms of, like, there's a lot of things that can happen and we don't have a lot of information. But I do think that having a conversation and, like, just seeing what people are thinking or where they're at in terms of this game and what they think it might do for the FGC is important information for us.
I think both Tavian and I will be anybody who actually wants to have, like, a good discussion in the comments. I definitely would like to interact with that, because, I mean, there are, like, different ways of thinking. And I think some of the things that they have said, it's possible that, like, it could go down.
Right.
But at the same time, there hasn't been any evidence that Riot is completely consumed by greed and only does what Tencent wants. So, in that sense, where it's like that. So, but yeah, I think that's, like, generally what all of the debate went down to. I think there were some side conflicts too, but in the end, I think that was generally what we debated about.
Yeah. And again, it's okay to have disagreements with people. Like, right afterwards, we played some sets and things were good.
We played some sets and called it good.
Right.
I got a drink and then I was good. I was like, I need a drink.
I found myself getting way more heated than I needed to, and I was like, I kind of had to, like, take a quick break, because I think Darcy was looking at us as well, and, like, I don't know where she stood on all of it. I think we talked to her afterwards, but it was just kind of funny because, like, she kind of hopped into it and was like, what did I just walk into?
Yeah, like, it was a mess. It was because, I mean, it wasn't like we were at each other's throats. We were very, like, set on our mindsets, and, like, we were debating hard. We weren't just going to let them say that and then just be, like, okay with it. Like, no, we're here and we're going to, like, argue for this because we love Riot and we love League. We're gonna see this out.
It kind of felt like a family argument in the sense of, like, I was absolutely okay to, like, say how I felt, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I found myself, like, raising the octaves a little bit when, like, people were saying things that, like, didn't make sense to me. I'm like, "What? No!" So, it was actually, like, thinking about it, it was I don't know, good conversation's right word to say, but, like, it left an impact on us. I'll say that.
I think it was, in a way, almost a necessary evil, because, of course, like, yes, we are 100% optimistic about this. And, like, they might have took us down just a small peg, but it was just enough to, like, make sure, like, okay, yeah, we should keep our mind straight, not be 100% optimistic about this. Because obviously, yes, I want this game to be perfect. I want to have crossplay. I want it to have rollback netcode. I want it to be the best fighting game ever and bring in all of the fantastic League players and make a fighting game that's just gigantic. But that is, of course, like, the biggest dream out there. But I have to be realistic with myself and be like, okay, but at the same time, it's okay to have those dreams because it's legitimately possible, because Riot is such a gigantic force in this sense right now, where it's like one of the biggest games right now, and they can really like bring people over.
Yeah.
Like the fact that people who don't even play fighting games that play League, like can actually just jump over and start playing League because it's the franchise, and like people are going to love that.
Yep. And that was actually a really small point of debate, was that like they were skeptical that it was going to bring in new fighting game players from League of Legends. And I don't know if you were there for this part, but I was like, no, you're totally wrong, because there's tons of people who want to play this fighting game strictly because it is a League of Legends fighting game, and that don't play fighting games. Because again, I work at the esports arena. I talk to a lot of college students that play League of Legends, whether they're on the team or they just play the game. You know, there's a lot of like diamond level players, you know, a wide range of skills, and they're like, no, I'm totally going to play this game. Now, whether or not they stick to the game is a different story. But if you think about it in sales, like you basically convert 10% of the people that you expose your product to actual customers. So like return customers. So you have like, say every 100 people that try the fighting game that are also League of Legends players, which is in the millions, you get like 10% of those people. Every 100 people, you get 10 of those people to actually stay and play the fighting game. And maybe they cross over to like Street Fighter or Tekken or something like that because they have a little bit more confidence. That feeds the overall FGC. And that's kind of like that idea I was talking about before, where this could be a game changer.
Also, by the way, actually to help push the perspective that I think Riot is also still giving, the Legend of Runeterra card game, as of right now, even though it's beta and like essentially they are giving stuff over, they have this mindset for the card game that is generalized towards the players to benefit the players more than benefiting the company. There are no card packs, by the way. Zero card packs that you can buy. Instead, you buy tokens that can be like used towards. It's kind of like Magic system where if you get a mythic token or whatever, their wild card is what they're Legend of Runeterra. So if I have a rare wild card, I can use that to make any rare card in the game. And they also have a progression system where you get like cards and chests as you play the game. The more you play the game, the more benefits you get. So, and literally there are no packs whatsoever. And that is what they've talked about. And at the same time, they're balancing every card to be playable. Every single card, because there are no packs. They don't need pack filler cards. They want every card to be a playable card in of itself. If that's not community oriented, I don't know what is.
So I'm not a huge trading card game fan. So when you say packs, what do you mean?
Card packs. You know how like opening card packs and you're getting cards out of it. So like in Hearthstone, if you open a card pack, you get a guaranteed one rare. And the other cards are, I'm trying to remember, I think it's 5 cards. Even though I've played Hearthstone for so long, it's 5 or 6 cards. And one of those cards is a guaranteed rare. The rest are commons. And then there's a system in a lot of games where there's what's it called? Like a pity timer, where essentially after, if you get no legendaries within like 40 packs, you guarantee get a legendary at the 40th pack that you open. But they're getting rid of that whole system where you buy packs and you have to hope to God you get the cards that you want. Because as a Hearthstone player, that is frustrating, because if I want to build a deck I want, I have to buy packs, hope to God I get enough dust back for those cards that I've bought, or pack the stuff that I need, and then try to make the deck. In the case for Legend of Runeterra, I put as much money as I want, buy the like tokens that I want, because you can buy the tokens outright, or you can buy a legendary token, you can buy an epic token, and you can immediately redeem those for the cards that you want, and they're literally like $2.
And this is like
for each kind of thing.
Okay.
So essentially, it's like you get what you want. You don't hope to God that it's RNG,
like randomification kind of thing. Like there's no
right. It's not zero RNG mechanic involved.
Gotcha.
Zero.
Okay.
So the fact that it's that and not pack oriented shows that they care about the community, that they want people to play their game, and they want people to enjoy it. So I want that to also translate well into the fighting game, and I'm sure it will. So and the card game, by the way, has me hyped out of hell. I'm playing it every time I've played it. I'm surprised that they haven't released it as a full game as it stands. Honestly, it already beats Hearthstone in my mind. Already.
I should apply for the beta.
And I love it. Man. As long as you have your account linked, and then if you're watching Riot Esports stuff, you actually can like get the beta key. Like if you link your YouTube and Twitch account to it, anything that you watch that's Riot based can essentially go towards you getting a key.
Okay.
So, which is also community oriented.
That's really smart. Okay. So are there any closing points for you?
Riot isn't that bad. Yes, they have bad things, but I think they're in the right track, and I'm very hopeful for the future.
Okay. I would agree with that sentiment. Whew, that was a good conversation. I'm glad we finally got to get that off our chest, because it's been like a couple of weeks since that information dropped that we had this conversation, and we had been intending on talking about this topic for a long time and never have. So I'm glad to have finally done that, and I feel like there's more things we can talk about. Like I have some speculations, but we'll save that for another day. That said, where can people find out where you are if they want to follow you on social media?
All right. So I am on YouTube at youtube.com/Megamaxstar. And then also twitch.com or twitch.tv/Megamaxstar. You can find me there, message me anywhere through those, and find out my channel. I'm working on a project for my YouTube, so keep in check, and it's Dragon Ball FighterZ oriented, where I want to make a series that also has a climb, but also using it as for some things people can learn and actually get better at the game while I am climbing. So that is my role, and that is my, I guess my idea for right now, what I'm shooting for.
There you go.
My goal.
Good. I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm the Philosopher. You can find me on, if you're listening to the podcast version of this, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/philosopher. Can't talk. youtube.com/philosopher. I have some content on there that isn't on the podcast versions. Or if you're listening to me or watching me on YouTube, check out the podcast. I've got a backlog of a lot of the old podcasts and some things that haven't been on the YouTube channel just because of length reasons. So you can find me on Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. You can find me on there. Just Google FGC Philosophy. I should pop right on up. Twitter, The Philosopher, or Philosopher at The Philosopher. You can find me on there pretty easily. And then Facebook, I'm just Tavian Napier. You can find me if you want to, whatever reason, use Facebook. That's weird. But hey, I'm not judging you guys. But yeah, that's it for us. Thank you guys so much. Again, let me know your thoughts down below about everything we just talked about in terms of specifically the Riot game. Like, do you think we're wrong? Do you think we're right? Do you think we're full of BS? Are you angry? Like, I want to know. This is a really important topic in terms of like, there's so many different ways this thing can go. So make sure you leave us some comments down below. But until then, thank you guys so much, and we will see you all in the next one.